Welcome to the SImple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. I'm your host, Shannon Ables, and whether you're listening on your commute, exercising, working in the garden, or sitting down with a hot cup of tea or a cafe au lait, thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Last week, the CDC, or Centers for Disease Control, announced that the average life expectancy for a woman living in the U.S. had risen to 81.2. Now, having the opportunity to live to 81 plus years is a wonderful opportunity, and to exceed it, an even greater blessing, right? But to reach 81 years of age is not guaranteed, as we all know. This is an average. And as there are more than 308 million people living in the U.S. as of 2010, we already know that many more people are living beyond that 81 years of age. We know that. So today we need to reinvigorate our energy to live more fully, because not everyone has that opportunity to live to that wonderful number. Why do I want to dive into this today? I know initially this sounds kind of morbid, but it's not. This is exciting. This is invigorating. This is what should just wake you up in the morning, get you out of bed and go, yes, I'm going to make this day awesome. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to go take extreme risks and risk life and limb. This is not what this podcast is about. But what this is about is being very purposeful in how you live each day. No matter what your hope is for your life path, we all know, and we all need to get to that point where we realize we are not guaranteed anything for certain. Yes, our decisions and proper planning and preparation play a significant, if not monumental, effect on our lives and how they turn out. But the factors we can't predict or control, such as the people who cross our paths serendipitously, or world events, or the economy, or inventions that open a new unexpected career path, can only be dealt with as we are introduced to them. It has been my experience that two life realizations or experiences affect how we deal initially with unexpected opportunity. The first one are experiences that we have had early in our lives, whether when we were children or young adults, how they worked out. Did we have to work hard? Did we have to put forth effort to receive good results, news, or outcomes, versus being handed everything we wanted and not realizing that such events, such goodness, such benefits take effort and don't just happen magically? The second one is this awareness of the preciousness of life. In other words, a gut check that makes us grapple with our own mortality. Either one or both of these experiences seem to reveal the why behind how we go about our day-to-day lives. Do we see wonderful events as amazing opportunities to be appreciated and seized, or do we simply see them as everyday occurrences and there'll be another one tomorrow? The difference between those two approaches, or those two perspectives, will shift, I guess you could say, the quality of your life. It will shift how you approach life and thus change your decisions and ultimately improve the quality and fulfillment of your life. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The good news is that often if we have had a struggle, no one wants to go through a struggle. No one wants to have their heart broken, or to lose a loved one, or to go through a tragedy. No one wants that. And no one should want to wish that on anyone. But if we have, there is a silver lining of sorts. Each day, we have the opportunity to have a greater appreciation for life. Each day, the simple things, when they occur, and the grand things, when they seem to miraculously unfold, we are more apt to seize them if we've had to struggle in the past, or if we've had loss in the past. We are more apt to seize them rather than dismiss them, because we don't assume there will be another available when we are ready. Recently, a quote caught my attention that Oprah shared in her O Magazine in the last column that she shares at the end of each issue, her What I Know for Sure column. And she says, quote, "You can either waltz boldly onto the stage of life and live the way you know your spirit is nudging you, or you can sit quietly by the wall, receding into the shadows of your fears and self-doubt." And as soon as I read this, I mean, it's true. We hear about this, get up and dance, live in the moment, be present. We hear this all the time. But I think when we have this understanding of our sense of not being here forever, this sense of chance can happen, good or bad, and we don't always know when it's going to happen. The reason why I wanted to create today's episode is that it is my hope that whether you've had struggles or loss or not, that you seize each day, appreciate each day, and thereby live fully each day. And today I'm going to give you 6 ways to do that every single day. Now, guaranteed, some days will be stellar, gold star, don't want to have that day end kind of days. And then there will be some like one I had recently in which I had open mouth, insert foot disease, that you want to forget. But the goal is to always give your best each day. Whatever is available, give your best. Whatever energy, abilities, preparation is available, give your best. Knowing that you did give your best will help you sleep much better at night. And if you did happen to have a day you'd like to do over, learn from it. Apologize if necessary. Put what you've learned into your knowledge base and move forward. And then let your actions speak for themselves. We are not perfect, as we all know. So if we can just accept that we're going to have not so great days, as long as we're giving our best and trying to be as fully present as we can, that's all we can do. So today's discussion is going to focus on living more fully each day, whether it be in the small or grand tasks that we are charged with. So we're going to dive into 6 simple, general, but I think anyone, no matter where they are in their life, no matter what their age, no matter their career, or if they're in school, can implement. And I'd be curious to hear your feedback in comments or email. Please feel free to email me at info@thesimplyluxuriouslife.com. So let's get started. Number 1, stop postponing your life. An example, you found someone, you click. Don't assume that every person you come into contact with your life, you're going to click with as you have with this particular individual. I'm not saying go elope tomorrow. No, probably not the best thing, but make plans now. You don't have to jump in head first, but stop and recognize when something speaks to you and throw your weight in that direction. For example, I with regards to not just love, but just in career paths and following your passion, I knew that teaching wasn't completely fulfilling everything that I wanted. However, I love teaching. I love teaching, reading, and writing. And I love the students that I get the opportunity to be with every single day and contribute to society. But something was still missing. And I go into this a little bit more in depth in my book. But when I found blogging and writing, I had no idea where it would take me when I started. But when I found it and I felt what I felt, I had never felt that before. I never had finally kind of filled a void that had been there. And so I didn't dismiss it. I threw myself into it. As my readers know, I, for 2 years, blogged every single day straight. I finally had to take a break just to get myself a breath, if nothing else, and have been going strong now for 5 years. And it's one of those things, I wasn't going to quit my day job because I did love it, but I also knew I couldn't just blog for a career. But at least I threw my weight into it. So kind of comparing that to the elopement, I didn't go and leave the job that wasn't entirely 100% fulfilling, but at least I invested in what was in the time that I could. And I made progress towards that passion. I didn't just dump it and assume that I would find it in another pursuit that I would have randomly down the road. So something to think about. Don't postpone your life. Don't assume that when you're ready, everything will pop up for you. Life, sadly or thankfully, doesn't work like that. So if we are choosing to live presently, we will catch those moments and we will grab them. And it's amazing what can happen. That's number 1. Number 2, don't dismiss happy accidents. This could be, as we just talked about, number 1, a chance career opportunity. This could be traveling to a destination you never expected and running into a certain person or seeing a particular exhibit. Or this could be an event where you put forth all this effort and you happen to get the opportunity to have someone in your career field see you doing what you love, and they offer you a chance career move that you would have never expected. Those moments, you can't really plan for them, but you can work your tail off to provide opportunity to occur. Don't assume these kind of things will happen again. Seize them, embrace them. Running into a dear friend or a loved one that you thought you would never reconnect with, or someone that just seems to get you. Don't assume that happens all the time. It may happen again, but you will never know. So again, take advantage of those happy accidents. Don't dismiss them. It's what you do after the happy accident that will determine the quality of your life. And everyone's path will be a little different based on the circumstances, but something to at least appreciate, if nothing else, those happy accidents. All right, number 3, spread kindness. Spread kindness. Help out when you can. Be honest, even if it's not what someone necessarily wants to hear, but present it in a way that is gentle and tactful and kind. Sometimes being truthful can hurt, but after the initial shock, it's one of the best gifts we can give someone. Be thoughtful. Listen. Simply listening can be sometimes the best gift you can give someone on any given day. Just to know that you're being heard is one of the best gifts, I think, sometimes. Say yes when you mean yes. Say no when you don't want to say yes. You generally don't want to say yes. But just small, simple acts of kindness every single day can make a tremendous difference, can make those certain connections, can reveal your true character. And if you keep spreading those breadcrumbs each and every day, you never know what a positive effect you have on the people, the community, and ultimately the world around you. And that being kind, it's not that you go out in the world every day and you say, I'm not going to be kind, because we have days where we just have moments and we forget, or we say something spontaneously, or we don't do something spontaneously that we probably would have if we were on a better day. Forgive yourself for those moments. We make mistakes, but make it an intention each morning to do what you can. Even if being kind is not saying anything at all, that might be the best gift, because you don't know what to say, or you want to say something that's not kind. Just by simply biting your tongue might be the best thing you could say. And just letting someone talk. Listening, as I said, is sometimes the best kindness that you could have or give to someone. So that's number 3. All right, we have 3 more that I want to dive into, but I want to take a quick 1-minute intermission, and I will see you on the other side. All right, welcome back. Prior to the break, we dove into the first 3 ways to live more fully each and every day. And now I'd like to talk about the remaining 3. Number 4. Number 4 is do what you love. Don't be afraid to show your interest to others. It's easy to do what you love when there's no one watching. And in fact, I encourage you to do that. That's how you get to know who you are and what you do love. But in order to make those connections, those authentic connections, or to find people who are appreciative or respectful of your efforts or your passion, you must be willing to put yourself out there and be authentically you. This doesn't mean that you're constantly only doing what you love to do. Absolutely not. Some things we have to do because we have to do. They're our job, our responsibilities, or we're doing things for people that we love. And we should absolutely do those. But when we have the opportunity to introduce ourselves to people or to show people who we are, or maybe someone's asking us to make the plans, don't immediately revert to doing what you think they would like to do. Show them a little bit of who you are. In fact, sometimes that's the most exciting part of getting to know people is you don't know what they're passionate about, especially if you work with people. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're following protocol. They're being professional. But outside of those office doors, we don't know what people truly love unless they tell us or show us. And that's sometimes the beauty of the mystery of life. That's what the gift of meeting other people and socializing is all about, is they will introduce us to new ideas, inspire us to do or think different ways. We can accept or reject, but we have that opportunity to see and understand how others live and enjoy life. So don't be afraid to show people who you are. It can be scary, but it also can show your true inner courage. And at the end of the day, I think for the most part, you'll be glad that you did. You'll be glad that you did. All right, that's number 4. Number 5 is be courageous. And when I say be courageous, the only way to live fully in the moment is to understand that everything's not always going to go well. You're not always going to be happy living in the moment, because when you live in the moment, you open yourself to feeling everything, the good and the bad. The definition of courage that I like to adhere to, and I'll share the link to the post that talks about the man in the arena, is that we don't eliminate fear, we master fear. In other words, we accept there are going to be good emotions and bad emotions, and it's how we master both of those emotions that will determine our fate. So when you decide to live fully and consciously in the moment, you will feel more intensely the good, but all the hurt as well. So say you take that risk and it doesn't work out. The rejection is going to sting, because if you're being sincere, it's going to hurt that someone either rejects you or doesn't feel or want to do the same things that you requested or asked to do or suggested if it's at work. You've probably opened a window, believe it or not, by showing what you prefer or request or have created. If you're coming up with ideas on how to do something, let observers see what you really care about, and who knows what future opportunities we've presented to you due to your ability to be vulnerable. It could be someone sitting in the room that has another opportunity for you that they think would fit beautifully with what you just suggested. It could be something that takes place down the road, but you just don't know. And so this kind of dovetails with number 4. If you're doing what you love, if you're talking or creating things that you love, you never know who you will meet or be introduced to, because once you put yourself out there, it's amazing what you can attract to yourself. All right. Don't tuck your tail and run when those bad things happen, or your feelings get hurt, or you get angry, or things don't work out the way you want. When life or situations are uncomfortable, it is in those moments that we have the opportunity to learn, to grow, and take responsibility for doing it better the next time. And it's not to say that certain things won't work out and you have to move on. You may have to move on sometimes. But I think in life, what I've found in life is if you're constantly starting over, you're never really ever making progress. Once you figure out your purpose, once you figure out what your main objective is, your true passion is, those little hiccups, those hurts, those stings are just going to be reminders of what it took to get where you want to go, or what it took to build a relationship that can never be created with anyone else. You're stronger because of it. You're stronger because of it. So by choosing to live in that moment, yes, you're opening yourself up to possible hurt, but you're also opening up yourself to amazing feelings of ecstasy and exuberance and excitement. And at the core, at the heart of it is fulfillment, genuine, authentic fulfillment. All right, so that's number 5. Number 6 is master your mind. I talked about this in our first podcast, and I'm going to talk about it again because it is so powerful. I'm going to begin with this particular quote. Your mind is the only thing keeping you from living in the present. Whoa. That's huge. That's empowering. Note that mastering your mind, though, does not mean turning off your mind. We are not turning off our mind. We are still going to be cognizant of what's going on. We're going to still be aware of thoughts that are running through our mind. But let me just kind of talk you through that, excuse me. So you have these thoughts going through your mind. If you are able to kind of step out of that moment and just observe your thoughts and then recognize the power that those thoughts could have if you acted on them, that's step 1. That's huge. Good or bad, just knowing what your thoughts are and knowing what the repercussions would be should you act on it, should you say certain things. If you can allow yourself to be a third-party observer of your thoughts, you are mastering your mind. If a thought pops up that is negative or critical, this is now your job, determine where it manifested, how it came to be, how it grew, how it got to that point, why you jumped there. And then this part will take practice and time, but then try to carefully pay attention to the root of that thought. And with your future or present actions, create new experiences. Go forward into new activities and events with a different mindset and an understanding that the past is past and you can change how you move forward. And that will alter how your mind responds in the future with time. Now, I'm by no means a therapist. I'm not trying to, but my main point is just to be aware of your thoughts, cognizant of it, and not be mastered by your thoughts. Because that sometimes, more often than not, if we are mastered by our thoughts, we can get ourselves into a lot of trouble. Something to think about. When we finally recognize that our todays, our nows make up our past, we'll be more motivated to live fully in the moment. And when we realize we aren't guaranteed anything, we will give ourselves the best gift of all, a well-lived life, no matter how long it lasts. How we proceed through our days when we are in alignment with the purpose we wish to pursue will determine what we bring into our lives and what we let go. But just because things don't work out the way we expected, or happen when we are ready, or follow our prescribed schedule or path, doesn't mean we shouldn't seize it. I'm going to leave you with a quote that appeared in the New York Times this past weekend about the topic of events in our lives happening for a reason. This idea that everything happens for a reason. It's an interesting read, and I'll provide a link on today's show notes. It pointed out that whether we are religiously inclined or not, regardless of where one lives and even their age, humans are inclined to accept that certain things happen for a reason. If for no other reason than for reassurance that life can be fair. But the writers of the article, 2 psychologists at Yale, conclude, quote, even those who are devout should agree that, at least here on earth, things just don't naturally work out so that people get what they deserve. Instead, the events of human life unfold in a fair and just manner only when individuals and society work hard to make it happen. Whoa, something pretty powerful with it. I think that's pretty empowering. In other words, we have to be consciously present. So if indeed a happy accident does happen, we can put into action or motion the preceding events that must follow to give the outcome we hope to happen, to have that best possible chance that what we hope to happen could happen. We have to be present. We have to be able to seize that moment. And that can only happen if we are truly aware of our presence there, of what's really going on, and to appreciate the small and the grand opportunities that present themselves. I don't know about you, but we may have started talking about life expectancy and death at the beginning, but this hopefully has just woken you up. You're going to have a great day today. Live fully. Amazing things can happen. And I think when we realize that when those good things happen, it's something to really appreciate, we'll savor them more. And even when we savor them more, we'll see more of them because we'll be looking for them. We'll be more cognizant of their presence in our lives because they really are there more often than we realize. They really are. The good things, those excitable moments that just make you want to sing and dance, are more present than we may at first recognize. So for all the links, studies, articles, and quotes that I shared in today's podcast, go to www.thesimplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast9, and you will get a transcript as well as all those links and quotes as well that I shared in today's podcast. Now, stay tuned for a simple petit plaisir that is, well, just a dose of inspiration that you might just enjoy. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. So in today's petit plaisir, I'd like to talk about a book that I just recently discovered, and I don't know why I didn't catch it last month, but I missed it. And it actually was the inspiration for today's post in a small part. It actually is Oprah Winfrey's latest book called What I Know for Sure. And if you've read her O magazine, you know the last page of her magazine is a short little column of her, written by her, about things she knows for sure, aha moments she's had in life, so on and so forth. And on September 2nd, she released this compilation of essays. It's over 200 pages, and it's organized by themes such as joy, gratitude, possibility, power, clarity, and connection and resilience, just to name a few of the categories. And, you know, each column or each entry is just about 2 pages, 3 pages long. But I think it's just a good little, motivation book to have on hand. You don't have to obviously sit down and read the whole thing. You may want to do that one day. You may just want to read one essay a night or in the morning to start off your day. It's up to you. But I really have enjoyed it. And I'm not someone who actually subscribes to the magazine just because of time and money. I just can't subscribe to all the magazines I want because I'd be buried in magazines. But I have always enjoyed that column. I have torn out that column of more times than I can count and pinned it to my inspiration board. Just general doses of inspiration to remind us that we are the master of our direction in our life. And no matter how long or short we have on this earth, we can make it pretty amazing. So I will have a link on the show notes, /podcast9 at the simplyluxuriouslife.com blog, podcast 9, if you want to take a look at a few excerpts that are available. I hope you've enjoyed this week's Petit Plaisir, where each week ideas are shared to make you enjoy the everyday all the more. Tune in at the end of each Monday's podcast where I'll recommend a book, a film, a recipe, or from time to time introduce you to an expert who offers insight into how to live simply luxuriously. Anything that is a simple pleasure to satiate your sophisticated taste. Thank you for tuning in to the SImple Sophisticate podcast. For more ideas and inspiration, stop by the blog, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com, or subscribe to the weekly newsletter, which arrives in your inbox every Friday to help you stay caught up on the most recent podcasts and blog posts. Until next Monday, bonjour!